3 years after she had fled the city, Noor found herself back in a Paris now dominated by the German military. Her mission was to join a secret SOE network called Prosper, where she would work as a wireless operator for locally recruited agent Henri Gary. Within days of her arrival, Noor secretly began to transmit vital information back to London. To avoid detection, she was constantly on the move. Hidden in her suitcase, her radio went everywhere with her. 63 years later, David Harper has come to the Imperial War Museum. He hopes to find out more about his aunt and what life was like for her as a spy in occupied France.
Right, well, first of all, we have, this is the type of radio that Noor would have been using. We think it's the B Mark II. Perhaps the first thing you want to do with it is just grab it round the edge and just lift it and check the weight.
Goodness.
It's not at all light.
It's amazing that my aunt, who's a very frail, rather small person, could actually handle one of these things. I can barely lift it up. Very heavy.
Yeah.
How much does that weigh?
I think it's about 33 pounds. So it's not, if you're walking around with it, you have to be quite careful to give the impression that it's not anything other than a normal bit of luggage. This is one of the lethal pills, a cyanide pill, which SOE agents were equipped with when they went into occupied Europe. Normally it would have been concealed in some sort of personal possession, inside a lipstick perhaps, in a woman's case.
Right.
Right. Well, this is, you might be surprised to hear, as far as we know, Noor Inayat Khan's actual pistol.
So Noor would have trained with this, probably.
Yes, indeed.
She was actually frightened of weapons. She didn't like the idea of firing one. I think it came from the idea that she didn't want to kill anyone. I find it almost unreal to be handling the same pistol that my aunt had in her possession, that she probably also handled with care.
Because of Noor's pacifist beliefs, she left the pistol behind in London. In Paris, within a week of Noor arriving, the double agent Dericourt's treachery had led the Gestapo to arrest almost the entire Prosper network. Noor was now one of the last wireless operators still operating in the city. David Harper has come to Paris to retrace the footsteps of his aunt. Streets which were then filled with German soldiers and, more worryingly for Noor, the much-feared Gestapo. Today, there are few witnesses living who experienced the dangers of working in occupied Paris, as Noor did, in that summer of 1943. But David has tracked down 2 F-section agents, survivors of the secret war in France.
I was a saboteur, trying to blow factories and power stations and bridges and a lot.
Bob Maloubier was also recruited into SOE and parachuted into France.
Part of this club here.
Bob was to do his training at the same time as fellow agent Gaston Collin, who, like Noor, was recruited as a wireless operator and was also dropped into the Prosper network.
Our main activity was to get the ammunition and arms into the region.
How long did this go on for?
About 2.5 months, I presume. And I was nevertheless wireless operating around Paris, and the only messages I was sending in the latter part was to inform London, the people that were arrested.
And at that time, did you meet my aunt, Noor?
Yes, I met her once. She came to see me where I was living, close to Place des Ternes. And so I met her, and I cannot tell you what we spoke about. It's too far away. And I never saw her again, of course.
Did she appear to be frightened and worried?
No, not at all.
So obviously you knew it was a terribly dangerous mission that you were on. Do you know how many actually survived that of F section of the SOE?
Well, F section, we were roughly between 300 and 400, I should say closer to 300 and 400. I mean, the casualties were about, what, between 33 to 40%, roughly.
Bob had an extraordinary escape. He was shot 3 times and left for dead. He was forced to swim an icy canal to safety before SOE airlifted him back to England. For Gaston, like all radio operators, his time was running out.
And eventually my wireless set was captured, was taken by the Germans, of course. So hence I was no more in contact with the head office at all.
Gaston was to eventually get back to Britain via escape routes across the Pyrenees, leaving Noor as F Section's only wireless operator left in Paris. With the Germans closing in on the last few members of the Prosper network, Noor was now in acute danger. Head of SOE's French section, Maurice Buckmaster, offered Noor a route to safety on one of their flights out of France. Realizing her significance, Noor refused.
A lot of people would say that she should have been brought home because whatever she may or may not have wanted to do, the fact that was that she was a very dangerous person to fall into the Gestapo hands because she knew a lot. Buckmaster left her out there because she was the only radio link with London after the collapse of the circuit. He needed Noor. She became very, very important to him.
General Sir Colin Gubbins, the head of SOE, said that Noor's position had become
the principal and most dangerous post in France.
But Baker Street weren't the only people listening for Noor's transmissions. With the arrest of the other SOE wireless operators, the Germans could concentrate all their efforts on the one wireless still transmitting from Paris.
I have no doubt that the Gestapo listening service picked her up from the moment she started to transmit, and that they were aware that there was an operator, codename Madeleine, who was about somewhere in the Paris neighborhood.
She then ran around Paris while the Gestapo was swooping on every other single member of the circuit for a good 2 months without being caught. It would appear that she survived through a mixture of luck and sheer cunning and quick-wittedness. There are comments from the Gestapo later saying that they were on her trail but they could never quite catch up with her.
David is eager to meet an agent who, like Noor, knew what it was like to work as a wireless operator under the eyes of the Gestapo.
Mr. Giacono, it's David Harper. Thank you very much.
Henri Diacono was dropped into German-occupied France in the months leading up to D-Day.
This one is the identity card with which I was dropped in France, the one they gave me. And I had to learn everything about that fellow. I had to learn where he lived, what was the name of his father, of his mother, and I had to learn all his life, you know.
Henri was under no illusion as to the danger of the job he was to take on.
All our friends around us used to tell us, don't be a wireless operator. Don't be a wireless operator because it's the most dangerous thing you can have. When you're young like this, you see things in a quite a different way. And for us, we had to do that, and it was very interesting to code messages to send them to England. And we were only captured by that side of the thing. We went. Yes, sometimes when you were doing nothing, you could be scared. But when you were in action, you didn't think. You just took the pleasure of doing your job as it should be done.
Despite the danger, Noor too seemed to be taking pleasure in the work she was doing. In a letter to Baker Street, she wrote,
"I'm awfully happy. It's grand working for you. The best moments I have had yet."
She says she's having the greatest time of her life. She says, thank you very much for sending me